I am Barry Middleman, Chairman of the Architecture Review Board, and we are calling to order the meeting for the Architecture Review Board at 6:35 p.m. I don't know if y'all know the procedure, but there was a notice posted pursuant to the Texas Open Meetings Act. Notice hereby given that the Architecture Review Committee of Castle Hills will conduct a meeting on Wednesday, September 10th, 2025 at 6:30 at 209 Lemonwood Drive, Castle Hills, Texas, City Council Chambers. And I am calling the meeting to order. Before we start, for everyone's sake, I'd like our committee members to please introduce themselves.
Leslie Weber.
I'm James McLean.
Okay.
Jimena McBurnett.
And Ana Frias.
Okay, thank you. All right. We skipped the Pledge of Allegiance at this time. There's a citizens to be heard section, which is the Architecture Review Committee welcomes citizens to be heard. If you wish to speak, you must follow these guidelines as a courtesy to your fellow citizens and out of respect to our fellow citizens. We request that if you wish to speak, that you follow these guidelines. The chairman will recognize those citizens who have signed up prior to the start of the meeting. Citizens are given 3 minutes to speak during citizens to be heard. Members of the public may only speak once and cannot pass the individual's time allotment to someone else. Direct your comments to the entire committee, not to an individual member, and show the committee members the same respect and courtesy that you expect to be shown to you. The chairman will rule any disruptive behavior, including shouting or derogatory statements or comments, out of order. Continuation of this type of behavior could result in a request by the chairman that the individual leave the meeting, and if refused, in order of removal. In compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, no member of Architecture Review Committee may deliberate on citizen comments for items not on the agenda. Okay. We're going into the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have to ask the city secretary if anybody signed up for citizens to be heard.
Okay. City Secretary, I believe one name signed up, but I don't see him here. Is Doyle? Is that Doyle? The one and only Doyle Spruill? Okay. All right. That's the only one that is signed up. On our consent agenda, I would like to see if anyone would like to comment or make a motion for approval of our previous meetings minutes, right? Anyone make a motion for that? For approval of the previous meetings minutes?
I move that way you accept the meeting.
Any second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, now is the time for the public hearing on an applicant submitted by Trey Belchelder for a substantial remodeling of an office building at 6803 West Avenue. Legal description, CB 5778, Block 8, Lot 6A, 9 through 12 in the city of Castle Hills, Bexar County, Texas.
Mr. Chairman, you have to open the public meeting with the time, please.
Pardon?
You have to open the public meeting with the time, please.
Okay, I'm going to open the meeting for public comments, and I cannot see the clock from here.
6:39.
At 6:39 p.m. Has everyone on our committee had a chance to review all the documents?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Good.
This is an opportunity for the applicant and anybody who wants to speak to come up to the podium. And then the next item, once you close the public hearing, the next item that you open will be discussion among the committee.
Right, right. So I'm opening the floor to, I guess, Mr. Spruill, who's chosen to speak on this applicant.
If you can state your name and address, please, sir.
I'm Doyle Sproul. I happen to know Barry from many, many years ago.
He's much older.
And, and I'm the next door neighbor to Trey Batchelder on West Avenue. And we have not adjoining, but adjacent offices there. I have the office building next to him. And I've been there several years. And I've enjoyed the place. There's that kind of new office development just to my left. That's got 4 or 5 tenants, and we share a driveway, and Trey is on the other side, and we kind of don't intend to share a driveway, but we do just because people do that. But he's been a good guy to have next door. He's a good neighbor. He's a good businessman. He's active in the city. He's done well for Castle Hills. He's a resident of Castle Hills, and I know a little bit about what he's doing there and seen the building, and I think it's going to be exciting to have something like that on West Avenue, because some of the old structures on West Avenue have not been redone yet, and some of them haven't been redone well. And I think it's going to be a great addition, and I can't imagine not wanting to have it there. So I just wanted to speak on his behalf and say, I'm looking forward to it if it can be done.
Thank you, Doyle. Thank you, Mr. Spruill. I guess that closes our public hearing.
No, sir. This is where you call the applicant.
Pardon?
This is where you call the applicant up so that he can discuss his project.
Good point. Tired. This was a long day. Is this Trey? Okay, Trey, would you like to do your presentation?
I don't really have a presentation other than what our application is. If anybody had any questions on any of the renderings or anything that we're doing that I could speak specifically on and explain if there were any ambiguities that we didn't cover in the application. I've got the rendering up on the screen. I have all the pictures of the existing and the proposed. And if there were any questions on it, I want to be available to answer those the best I can, or reach out to somebody that could answer it better if I had the opportunity. But I think I have a handle on what we're doing and can satisfy all your questions if I can do so.
I'd like any of our committee members to speak up if they could or would, regarding their presentation, their application. Anybody?
I would,
Yeah,
Barry.
Tanner.
I went in the morning to look at the site. In the front, there's some trees on there. On one of the pages, it said that there were not going to be any tree removals.
Correct.
But then on one of the pages, the one that has the diagram, it does say that the trees in the front to be removed to put, like, with the entrance. There's 3 trees there in the front. Are
Those-
those going to
tho-
be removed?
no.
Almost to in front of the house.
No, ma'am.
Okay, that was my question.
No, there's no trees to be removed unless there's limbs that are touching or
Right,
interfering on the structure that we're gonna.
that was my question. Thank you.
Anyone else have a comment?
Just a question. So what are,
Is your speaker on?
yes, it is. I'm sorry. Let me come a little closer. So what are the exterior materials on the new building?
The exterior materials, you said?
Yes.
That it will either be a hardy board with a slat that will cover up the seams every 16 inches, or it'll be a standing seam metal panel,
Okay,
which would match the roof. So they virtually both have the same look, but at this point, from a conceptual standpoint, to see what we can do and what we can't, I have.
sure. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, thank you.
Any of y'all have any other comments? None of y'all?
I like the use of breeze block.
Pardon?
I like the use of the breeze block for the privacy fence. I think it's
Sure. I
very
put two options in
appealing.
there. I wasn't sold on that white concept, but I put a terracotta one in there as well.
yes.
Um,
What about the construction on the back building?
It'll be a wood frame with a parapet that will hide a small mini split that'll serve 3 offices in the back. That'll be the same siding. It'll be either wood frame windows or extruded aluminum storefront material. Yeah, probably a TPO roof, slab on grade.
You know, Trey, if I can call you Trey.
Sure,
Address you as Trey.
absolutely.
Trey, I'm all for the approval of your project. I'm just a little bit concerned. I think we talked to one another. I'm a little bit concerned about you're not meeting the all the questions and required material to be submitted for application. So this is more of a legal issue. But to give you an example, you're showing you're supposed to be submitting a 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 17 plat to scale showing projects, square footage, and location of building or buildings. And your submittal is very rough. It doesn't have any dimensions locating the building. It doesn't have any dimensions showing the limits of the paving. The drawing you provided, I went by there also. I question whether those parking spaces, which are really actually out of scale, are the proper size parking arrangements. And so I have a little bit of a disagreement, not with your approval, but with your lack of information. This meeting is not intended to be just a sounding board for your ideas. It's supposed to be submittal of professional drawings that were prepared by professionals. And I think you've mentioned that there'll be you're mentioning an engineer to do the civil work on the project, but you're
Structural.
mentioning that after the fact. There's nothing given to us that was prepared by your engineer, which we usually would expect to see by an applicant. And whether we're keeping or not keeping the tree, there should have been a tree survey showing the types of trees and existing trees and or any that are removal. You haven't given any specific locations or tree sizes and tree species. That's another application requirements. You are tonight specifying the exterior building materials. You're supposed to be submitting a sample board with samples of the exterior materials on it so we can see and touch and feel what those were to be. And there's supposed to be landscape plans reflecting landscape area, including landscape buffer, plant specifications, and locations. And all of these matters that I'm bringing up, you've checked off as if you've met these requirements. And then the last one is, as I look at the design, you haven't shown how you're draining the back of that gable roof that's slapping up against that vertical siding. Second
There'll be
building.
2 crickets on each side, if I could interrupt.
Pardon?
There'll be a cricket on each side that'll slope that roof back, that'll be reframed.
So are you gonna have like you're not gonna have like a continuous gutter that would empty at the ends?
You're talking about the structure that's the cube structure in the back, or how the
Well,
shed roof meets the,
gable roof is.
yeah, there'll be additional cricket that'll be framed at a slope back at it, and then it'll drain off the roof.
How's it gonna drain off the roof? It's sloping right into the
There,
other building?
that this is for conceptual purposes. It's not like a framing drawing. I mean, my understanding and the way this was put together is I set up a meeting with Louis. I went through all these items. I initially went to permit with these items. They said I needed to go to architectural review. I had a conversation with Louis. I brought all these documents. He asked me what to add. And I did that. And he said he thought it was sufficient for an architectural review. The items you're asking for, I'm happy to provide at the point of permitting. But if I can't, I don't want to put a bunch of money into this building. If I'm required to go through all the engineering from hire civil engineer, hire structural engineer, hire mechanical engineer, all up front and provide all those drawings before I have approval of the concept, and then I don't get approval of the concept, I'm better off just tearing the entire structure down and redoing it. So I'm trying to, take something, make it better, see if, that's why I went through to spend, these are nice renderings. You can see what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to look like. I can tell you what the materials are. This is simply the concept. If it's from an architectural standpoint, it's acceptable to y'all. This is what I will take through to the next stage to go to permitting. But to spend $60,000 and not know if the city's going to let me do it, that's why I painted a pretty picture, and then I'll put the technical data behind it to satisfy the city for a permit.
Well, we're not asking for a complete set of construction documents. We're asking for a survey that would be prepared that really identifies accurately your intentions on the site and your parking and the limits of paving. And we're asking, we put in writing the things we're asking for. And I'm not saying that we're objecting to your doing the project. It's just we have a format that we expect applicants to perform in order for us to make a educated guess as to whether we want to approve this to go to council. And there's just, in my mind, some unanswered factors here that you may be under a misunderstanding, thinking that you're applying with us for a permit, because we're not asking for construction documents. We're just asking for you to answer in the format that this is laid out on the architect review hearing minimum requirements. You don't have a section through the building. You said you have a parapet. How high is the parapet above the roof? You don't have a drawing that shows that. How do we know it's screening the rooftop equipment?
I mean, in my defense, Barry, you and I had a conversation on the phone, and the three things that you asked me for, I added, and I went up through those with Louis, and I added them to the application. So that's what I thought we were okay with. If I was, before I waited, 30 days to go through this process, I could have definitely had that done. But we had a conversation. I added that we were going to have engineer drawings. I added who the engineer was. I added what the name of the firm was. That was part of our conversation. We talked about the trees. We talked about the parking. We talked about handicap accessibility. And I did the best I could with spending limited funds at this point for an architectural review without engaging a civil, that we could possibly get this passed. And I would, spend the time to do the grades, everything else. I've looked at it. It will work. But if we're going to look at colors, materials, and size of the footprint, I can get the rest of work from an engineering standpoint. But from the information I had from our conversation and that I went through with Louis, I thought that we would have sufficient evidence that what we were going to provide was going to be bettering the community, bettering this building, and that we thought we were in compliance of what the application was. So
Well, he may have thought it was an improvement, and I think it's a great improvement to the community. And again, I think you've done a very nice job of presenting what you have. I'm not talking about aesthetics. I'm talking about the items that are displayed in the applications. You've checked every one of these items, but you haven't provided that information that you've checked in certain items. And Louis may like the project in concept, but Louis is not commissioned to review or make any comments other than just his personal beliefs. That's what the Architecture Review Board is for. He wouldn't, I tried to get him to help me make these, these decisions, and I've already gotten kind of criticized because before I knew that I'm not allowed to have talked to you in advance of this meeting, according to our city manager, our city attorney. But I did. You did call me back, and I wanted to offer you the respect of trying to answer very briefly. I was really kind of straddling the fence there because I wasn't, on one hand, I wasn't supposed to speak with you prior to the meeting, and on the other hand, I wasn't going to not take your phone call. Out of respect for you, I wanted to talk to you. Now, if I'm one person and I'm not trying, honestly, I'm not trying to influence the committee at all, because if they're comfortable and satisfied with what you presented, it's going to be vote by committee, and I'm not trying to influence anyone at all. I just don't want to be put in a position where I'm setting a precedent for people that were following up, not giving the application its proper procedure, saying, well, Trey didn't have to, why should I have to? That's where I'm trying to draw the line here. And again, you're either going to get questioned here, or you may get questioned at city council, because I can't give them all the answers to all the application items. And the final say is with council. And if our committee votes to approve your submittal, then we'll take and let the city council know that the Architecture Review Board has approved your submittal.
No, that'd be greatly appreciated.
Again, I don't mistake this as being personal, because it's not. It's just, I'm trying to follow a format, just like when you build a building, you've got to meet code, and you've got to provide certain documents accordingly. And the Architecture Review Board was kind of intended to be a sounding board for the city council. So the council wouldn't spend a lot of time on something that was being submitted commercially in the city of Castle Hills. So I just had to get that off my chest, because I want you to understand that I would have preferred there have been more detail, and I could go into detail with you of what we would want further if the committee so chooses. But maybe this will spark some comments or some nuances of this with my committee. They may want to ask some specific questions about the design that I had missed, or that you can answer to their satisfaction.
I'm happy to do so.
Come on, anybody. If the committee is satisfied.
No, I think that I am satisfied, but I do agree in regards to the trees and things that are usually in the plot plan. That is good to see. But I think Anna covered that with the question if there was going to be any that were removed. So, and he's confirmed that no, unless it's up against destruction. I think everything's good.
Okay, is there any other comments by anyone on the committee?
No, I think everything that he presented, I'm good with that.
Mr. Chairman,
My,
discussion for the board is the next item. This is the public hearing. So before the board gets into a discussion, you have to close the public.
I'm sorry.
hearing.
I'm sorry, my mistake. Trey, do you have anything more to say?
I do not. If there's any more questions for me, I'm happy to answer them and appreciate your time.
I'm not great at Robert's Rules of Order. I just do the production. I don't do the legal work. Thank you very much, Trey. I appreciate your time. Now we're closing this portion of agenda items by the public at 7 PM. Now, is there any further discussion?
You have to open up the next,
Pardon?
you have to open up the next agenda item, sir.
Is there another agenda item?
Yes, you did close the public hearing and now you have to open up discussion and possible action. Item 5.2 with the time.
Well, I wasn't going to adjourn the meeting. I was going to call for a discussion and then I was going to ask somebody to make a motion.
5.2 is discussion and possible action. So you need to open up discussion and possible action. The next item. That's the next item. You closed the public hearing just now, and now you have to open up the next item for discussion amongst the board members. And you do that with item 5.2.
Okay,
So you'll ask for a motion. And if someone seconds it, then you can open up for discussion.
okay. So you have to make the motion before you have any further discussion?
There has to be an action that has to be seconded for discussion to occur.
Not approval, just for the action.
You can even state that a motion for discussion.
Does anyone want to make
I'll make a motion for discussion of this project.
any
I
second?
second that.
Second. Okay. Now, is there any further discussion among our committee? It can be an open discussion, correct? Thank you.
No, I think that the only thing that I would have liked to have seen, like you said, would have been the plat or, something talking about utilities and how this is, impacting the current existing building. But as far as the design, I think aesthetically it works and I'm happy with it.
Okay. No more, Anna? No more?
No, I'm
you?
good.
Do you have any comments?
Same, I do like the materials presented, the breeze block, the concrete, the quartz and steel, I think that's an existing flagstone. So great improvement, brick. Would have liked to, see in a little bit more detail, but I mean, if the plants that are used here are the ones intended or natives, they look great. I mean, I think it's great improvement for West Avenue for that part of town.
Okay.
So.
Any other discussion? I'd like to call for a motion.
Motion's already been made. Is there
Pardon?
a motion for approval?
Motion for approval, is that right?
That,
Would someone like to make a motion for approval or disapproval?
I move that we approve the application as presented.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those against? It carries. So you're approved. And we will do write a letter of our approval to the city council for their oncoming meeting. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, I believe that is our regular agenda items. Do I hear anyone make a motion for adjournment?
I will make a motion for adjournment.
Second, anyone? Second?
I second.
The meeting is adjourned as of 7:00.